I made sure I had police escort. I feel better with it.
That's all right. Old habits die hard.
I got used to it in the 90s. I had no choice. It was always someone that carried a weapon sleeping outside my door for a few years.
True story. Yeah,
It is true. Yeah.
Here, why don't we start there before that? About if anybody because you explained this yesterday, but let Claude tell you himself of how serious, right? Because I'm sure some of yous were on those lists that it got erased. Don't worry, I took care of that. But because we were mad. You knew we were mad, but tell them the reality of your life after, like.
Yeah, it got, it got pretty bad. Of course, you guys, I don't know if you've watched the tape already, but I got to see it firsthand many times today, being at the game. Actually, one of my clients says, nice tribute to you today.
Yeah, nice.
Sunquist, and I said thanks. But of course, there were a lot of hockey fans that were quite upset after the hit on Chris Draper, and as I've said many times, it wasn't something that was targeted. It's something that happened. It happened quickly, and if I could have taken it back, I would have taken it back that as soon as it happened. But looking back at it 25 years later, it's a fast game. We're all out there trying to win, and I always wanted to win at all costs. So definitely something that if I could have taken it back, I would have. But it got really bad. We were, we were getting a lot of death threats. So I was taking that seriously. I was not worried about so much what could happen on the ice. I was much more worried about what could happen off the ice when I thought it was a little bit blown out of proportion for a while, and then first game back to Detroit with the police escort, and then being told that I'm not going to have a roommate. My roommate's going to be the police officer outside my room, and then we got a memo before the game said no one is to not wear a helmet in the warm-up. Everybody's got to wear a helmet. They could be, items. If it gets too bad, you guys just forget the warm-up and we'll bring you back in. So I think it was, it was a wake-up call for all of us, but especially for myself. And, being a husband, being a father, I didn't want to get shot. I didn't know what could happen, but it definitely crossed my mind.
But it was a reality, and I think that's a great little appetizer to. I'm not doing your job, bro.
Well, no,
that Monday to Friday.
This is your show, not mine here. Hey, so gentlemen, as we talked about last night during the interview, that's on Woodward Sports right now. That literally, this is not an overnight event. This rivalry just didn't happen overnight. There was things that led up to it years in advance beforehand, and that led up to the fever. The culture was very different in the NHL at that time, right? It was a very different culture. There was, win at all costs. Something happened to Foote, Adam Foote, right before that, right? As far as the event that led up to that.
I think you brought up a great point yesterday.
Yeah.
Take them back to New Jersey, 1990. Take them back
I
to
think it was
Proby.
it was 90. Yeah, it was 90. Good memory by you.
I just remember you told me that yesterday.
I got traded from, Montreal. I ended up in Jersey. I believe it was the first game of the season. We're playing the Wings, and happened to be on the ice. Anyway, Proby is in front of me. He's going to get a pass. I hit him from behind. He goes down. I think he goes down, hits the board. Now he's coming back. We're going up ice, coming back, and he's chasing me, and I can hear him. But I thought if I turn around, I'm going to get hit. I'd rather get hit in the back and get hit in the front. And he hit me pretty hard. I went down, went on a line change, and our coach was John Cuniff, and Cunny was a tough guy from Boston, and he did not like it, and he was cursing him out. A couple shifts later, he sends Troy Crowder out, and I had no idea who Troy Crowder was. He was just a big man, young kid, first or second year with the team, and you guys know the history. He had a great fight against Proby. I would say he won that fight, and then it was the rematch. So there was a rivalry that began, during those days with some of the old timers. They knew that I was the guy that maybe started that, but I think it would have probably happened anyway. And then there was another fight, and then we take it from there to 1995 when I'm playing for the Devils, and the Wings were, it happened. It was a sweep, but it was a sweep on the wrong side. The Wings were a powerhouse. Everybody.
Cheer! He beat us.
Exactly.
He set you up. He set you up, guys. Come on.
But we loved it. We knew we were a good team, but they were a more skilled team than we were, and they were a great team. But fortunately for us,
best record in the league at that time, right? They had the best Red Wings had the best record in the league that year.
We swept them, and it was a great victory. But going to '96 and what we were talking about last night, I'm sure many of you recall if you watch already. Some of the replays, Adam Foote in that game gets hit by Kozlov, and he hits his face against the board. They're pulling him out on the stretcher, and I go over to Footy, and that's what we do as teammates, no different than what Darren did for, his good friend and teammate Chris Draper. I said to Footy, I'm going to get him. And so late in the game, we're up in the game, and I purposely sucker punched Kozlov, which triggered, suspension. So I missed Game 4, came back for Game 5, didn't play very well. I was a little bit worried about finishing hits and things like that. Before Game 6, Mark Crawford said, you can't be a ballerina out there. If you're going to play, you got to be yourselves. Being myself meant, you go finish hits, and again, unfortunately, finish one too many.
Well, it set the stage as well. I mean, even Chris Draper said himself, from the drop of the first puck, guys were taking runs, right? Slashing, grabbing, sucker punching. We did stuff, they did stuff, right? It was going back and forth.
It's the most allowed there is violent war or whatever, but it's brotherhood, picking up and the stuff like Foot's trying to run Kozlov because that's his job, and Kozzy's had enough, and then Claude's sticking up for him, and then it's the trickle down effect. But in the whole thing, right, we're talking about, think of the 96 it started, the rivalry, the greatest we're talking about. Look at the way that the rivalry went and how different ebbs and flows of turns both ways. So, yeah, we were all playing to win. And that's what the competitors, I think we got to.
Yeah, and I got to set the stage. It wasn't just the players. It was the coaches, right? Bowman was jawing. Bowman said himself, it was on you. I don't know if you want to tell that story about walking out of the arena and Bowman's talking to you off the bus.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
No, and this is important as we lead up to the game, because these are all the things is that, these are things that people might hear, but he's telling you, and there's no reason that these aren't true to be even fact checked, because you can play it back and it gives you the prelude, and we're trying to give you the setup before we drop the greatest game in the history of games on your head, in my opinion. But go ahead.
This is not fake news. This is real news. But after the game, when I did sucker punch Kozlov, and I figured I'd be suspended. I'm walking out of the building with my wife and our son Brendan. He was a few months old at the time. He was born in March. And so I'm carrying my little boy with my wife and her dad, and I'm walking right by the Wings bus, and the door's open, and Scotty sticks his head out and starts chirping me. So I have to say it.
Do you want to know what he said? I have it right here. I have
You got it? Okay.
He says, "Nice sucker punch. I hope you get suspended. Only use a few other expletives as well in there."
Well, if it's my show, then why don't you use them?
I'll let you use them, not me.
Oh, okay. Well, it is. He said fuck a lot.
So I handed Brendan over to my father-in-law, and I proceed to walk to where's the bus and actually put one foot on the, through the door, and I said, you know, you got a problem, and you should have seen the bus.
And then what happened? The whole
Bus just...
all of us guys, and it's funny when he says that because all I remember is the commotion starting, and I sit at the back, and yeah, all the
I knew all the tough guys
tough
sat
guys
in the back.
because it's the same way in every right near the
Yeah,
bathroom. You
absolutely.
Knew it. He knew it. He
all
could
the
buy
skill
time.
the skill guys are always at the front near the coaches and general manager, and the tough guys are in the back drinking beer. So I knew I probably had a few minutes, but you know,
he's smart, man.
You're
like,
running a little hot, and so I thought, you know, this guy's not going to chirp me, and you guys have to understand, I had the utmost respect for Scotty Bowman. I grew up idolizing Scotty Bowman and the Montreal Canadiens. Scotty Bowman was the man. So I'd met him when I was like 14, 15 years old. It was like, you know, the highlight of my life at the time. But in the moment, you know, he's doing what he's doing, and I knew he was clever, and I'd heard stories about Scotty and people close to the Canadiens. He would trap guys with, you know, setting up decoys in the lobby of hotels and stuff like that.
The best one is you learned early, never sign an autographed item for an autograph seeker at the hotel after curfew, ever. Because Scotty will give them articles to get signed, so drunk D-Mac would walk in and then go to sign, and then Drapes would knock the marker out of his hand. What are you, stupid? Yeah, whatever. And then, so that, like, psychological warfare, right? Like, he was so smart, so he did that to the referees, did that to his own team, did it to the other team, so, yeah.
Next day, we have a hearing, so I have one with the league. I got to go in early to meet with Pierre Lacroix. I'm walking in, and there's a teeny hallway in McNichols Arena, and it's probably 5 feet wide, doors on each end, nobody else. I'm walking this way, Scotty Bowman is coming in the other way. It's just the two of us. I looked at him and I said, "You got anything else to say?" And he was quiet.
But it doesn't matter, because I said to Claude yesterday is that's the first time I ever heard that. So there is a respect thing there, like Claude, you know what I'm saying? At the time, where to get the gravity of everything else, what you're dealing with, and sometimes that's, you know, the imperativeness is to get behind it, and it didn't matter, but that's, you know, two guys. But it's funny how I look at that and go, geez, that's karma. Like the way that it works out, that you're just there after the incident.
And Claude, there was one thing you shared that I think is really important for people to hear, is that when that hit happened on Draper, you were literally going for a line change. You were heading to the bench.
Yeah. And it's no excuses or trying to, 25 years later, we're not going to pretend. The way I played the games, there's somebody in front of you who finished a hit. But on that play, I'm coming over, and I'm going on a line change. Chris has got the puck, and he's close to the board. At the time, he's looking at me. I decide, instead of going here, I'm going this way, and I'm going to finish my hit. Like I said earlier, as soon as it happened, you heard, I just knew it was not good. And I got on the bench, and the rest is history. With me, it was never personal. Regardless, I remember in the Boston Garden, Gord Kluzak, you know, laid a big hit on me, broke my face, broken eye bone, cheekbone, broken nose. And in the off season, Ray Bork was a good friend of mine. And Ray said, "I really want you to come to my golf tournament." Again, I'd been there before, but he said, you know, Kluz is going to be there. And I said, "But that's okay." He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Absolutely, it's fine. We all played a game. We played a game hard, and things happen." And for me, I always left it at the rink. I never let it get outside. For me, those were really important boundaries. Now, when it happened with Chris, I also understood. You know, I knew that there was so much anger built up with the fans in Detroit, and not winning in the early 90s, not winning in 90, whatever it was, 94 or 95 and 96. It was just the whole, you know.
And the fact that you were the most hated guy in the league
that didn't help.
And the fact of where I
didn't have to say
and,
that.
And this is the imperativeness, right? Because absolutely what Claude says, right? As far as a hockey play, if you break it down, John's a break of sports science. If you follow that stuff, it's the angle of where the hit and how he hit in the boards and stuff like this. As a hockey play, it wasn't malicious. It's a lesson to everybody that after that you're accountable for your actions and how you behave. And it's the way that, and I know because we talked about it, how reporters are, everybody in today's day and age looking for a click, looking for this. It wasn't like that back then, but they're throwing microphones in your face, right? And you, when you're a bit of a warrior, sometimes you're in that mentality, right? You don't care. So it was, and Claude, the fact that he said he didn't apologize. It was made it bigger than that for me. And to Claude's point, it had to be, I mean, all of us that were there, who else never thought that, like, are we ever going to win? What is the thing? So that's what I want to get to the point, is that the catalyst to that all happening is why it had to play out. And the fact that going into this game, right, we set the league record 62 wins after we lost, and we lost all 3 games to these guys.
Yeah.
Now here's the one thing I want Claude to tell you. When did you think it was coming, and when didn't you think it was coming? This is important because this is...
Well, I thought it was coming in Denver, the first game. I believe that I had, I missed some games. I had surgery.
You were hurt for 2,
but
you played
hurt.
1.
Yeah. So the game in Denver, my first game back since the incident, I thought for sure I was ready. Somebody, I figured it'd be you, or maybe it's Chris, maybe it's 2 that are going to come. So be prepared. I was not, the most comfortable in that game. The game here, yeah, could it be? But I had so much on my mind about all the other stuff off the ice that I just wasn't ready for what was coming, and it came hard.
Is that a good segue?
That's a great time to roll the tape.
For specific dates when it comes to regular season contests. But mention the night of March 26, 1997, and every Red Wings fan knows exactly what happened. With all the Stanley Cup wins and overtime thrillers to choose from, you, the fans, picked this contest as your favorite, and it's easy to see why. This one has a little bit of everything: rivalry, retribution, and a dramatic overtime. It cemented the Red Wings and the Avalanche as arch enemies and set the stage for battles that would be fought for years to come. Darren McCarty, the hero on this night, calls this game his favorite memory. So sit back and enjoy the Red Wings showdown with the Colorado Avalanche.
Yzerman.
You were making stars way back then.
Lapointe. Keane with Stefan Yell and Eric Lacroix. Murphy and Sergei Fedorov on the blue line on the opening shift of the night. So Fedorov starts immediately on defense. He steps into Mike Keane. The puck swept around, and Sandstrom kept in at the blue line by Sylvain Lefebvre. And now behind it's Keane. Tied up nicely by Sergei Fedorov. And the puck moved ahead to Marty Lapointe. Now Lapointe will go behind the net.
Look at that flow.
To stick it into the zone. Back
Tired of
up
that
to
jersey and
Lacroix.
those white skates.
I was going to say, I didn't remember him without a helmet.
Lapointe.
He's playing
Murphy
defense.
cross ice. Larionov stayed onside. Or did he? It is whistled down for the 2-line pass.
What was the, Claude, what was the strategy?
What was I getting booed for already?
Lemieux. Take a look at our starting goaltenders tonight. Brought to you by Toyota. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Patrick Waugh has equaled his career high with 36 wins this season. That is
Don't worry,
tops of the
I'll have
National Hockey
them all
League.
hating
He's
him
also
more
got
than you
7
by the time
shutouts
we
on
leave.
the year. That
I don't
also
think anybody
equals a
here
career
will.
high, and Mike Vernon will get another shot at number 300. Vernon getting the start this evening. It was not a good outing a couple of days ago in Chicago. Victimized 3 times.
Tell them the
on 4 shots.
story about you running Vernie and the way it used to be, right?
Would love to get win-
Yeah, I was watching about a month ago. I don't know. I'm on the internet. And they're playing 1989 Stanley Cup Final, Montreal against Calgary. And in that first period, I think I could have got 10 minors, which 2 of them I ran Vernon over. Like he was barely out of his crease, tripped him once. We scored. It was unbelievable what we got away with, but that's just the way it was.
Hey, stop for a second. You know, we talk about the players, we talked about the coaches. It was a fever pitch. Even the newspapers got involved with this. The Denver Post said, Detroit so hates Lemieux it can taste the bile, but the Red Wings can't hurt him, can't intimidate him, can't touch him. That's from the Denver Post. And Detroit Free Press in response said, time for revenge. Claude's intimidating like a carjacker. You don't know when he's going to strike, but you can bet it will be from behind, followed by a sudden fight. I mean, this is the fever. It wasn't just players. It wasn't just the coaches. It was the newspapers as well. The media, as you mentioned earlier.
Oh, it was city versus city and stuff like that. Even to this day, like the Post pictures I got today, it's like, I've been out here in Colorado since whatever and wearing jerseys. No, it was a old school hatred to whatever side, right? So that makes it beautiful. Remember those things called newspapers, guys? So explain to some of the younger people here that used to get to touch it.
Shout out to the Free Press. We got somebody from the Free Press here.
Tony's here. Thanks, yeah. Tony Paul. Shout out.
Sakic on his line with Deadmarsh and Scott Young.
Looking at those 2 goaltenders, Patrick Waugh, they say will play 95% of the remaining games for Colorado. There's Chris Draper, who was happy to get Game 1 post-injury out of the way a few weeks ago in Denver. And there is Mr. Waugh. He's the premier guy in the NHL. Wearing that size 72 sweater. Mike Vernon could not be faulted. Mike on 2 of the 3 goals in Chicago. The second goal I talked to him, he never did pick it up off the stick of Bergdahl. Third goal, short side maybe by Jamnop. The first one, great play by Probert. But 3 shots, 4 goals, or vice versa. Penalty coming up Denver. You know, it doesn't hit you. Out comes the hook. So throw the guy right back into the fire. That's what Scotty Bowman's done. Paul Dvorsky with the first penalty of the game.
Small note.
To the Avalanche.
Paul Dvorsky.
And remember,
the ref and the linesman Dan Shackey both ref the game.
In Denver
6 and 96
for the
conference final.
The Avalanche 1 game ago. So it'll be interesting to see how those calls come out tonight. There's the little trip up there against Maltby.
I think that was a
Statistics
tie.
bear, Mike, that the Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers,
203.
the 2 leading teams at drawing penalties, have the most power plays in the National Hockey League. A lot of that is credit to them for their speed and making things happen, and people getting a piece of them, pulling them down, hooking and holding. And they're also very good at making sure the referee makes sure he sees what happens too. So combination of the both, they're on top of the league with power plays.
The puck is cleared by Colorado. They are the #1 team in the National Hockey League at 87.5% with their penalty kill. Detroit last year led the league with incredible numbers, second all-time behind the Flyers of the 70s. Puck is on the back of the net of Waugh and flipped out in front. Stephen Yell with a cross-check on Shanahan. Yzerman gets it back at the point. Scott Young for interference, first power play of the night. Darren McCarty. Yzerman the one-timer, and it's knocked down in front. And Keane will clear. Colorado has scored 12 shorthanded goals this year. They had one scored by Adam Deadmarsh in the matchup 10 days ago. In fact, they had 2 shorthanded goals. One of those, though, at the end of the game by John Clem was an empty netter. Yzerman tries to bring it into the zone. He's pushed off the puck by Sylvain Lefebvre. Here is Forsberg. Stops at the face-off dot, tried to get it back to Krupp. And the puck played at center. Red Wings unable to generate anything with the man advantage so far in the first 1 minute and 15 seconds of the penalty against Young. Sandstrom will wrap it around. Waugh plays it.
Hit stop for a second, Stitch.
Clears it out himself.
Uh-oh. Thanks for coming, Darren. Appreciate it. Have a good night, buddy. Hey, so I want to interrupt this because you guys are over there talking, and I think it's important for them. What are you guys talking about? What's going through your mind now as you're watching this?
He's saying who's on. You played with Larionov and Shanahan, and Claude said that's where Scotty was so smart, is that we interchanged and played with each other. And we're saying in today's NHL, these coaches in this game. What?
There you go. That's better.
Those coaches in this game. I'll eat this. Coaches in this game think that it's got to be all skill on the power play, but that's where Scotty was smart. And then as far as mixing up different lines, or I call it the bingo machine, and putting it out there. And then we were just commenting on how dirty Peter Forsberg was.
Stefan Yell in pursuit of Lemieux.
Not my words. I mean, I just concurred it.
And the puck played to Sergei Fedorov. 25
Oh, and
seconds left in the
also,
power play.
imagine if Igor Larionov came over and played here young.
Around the outside of Kucherov. Now he tried to center. The puck flipped out of midair by Sandstrom and over the net. Fedorov looking in front. Trying to go to the short
Look how old
side.
it is. Homer's still wearing 15.
Cleared again, and the penalty will come to an end.
Here's a good Scotty story.
Much more room, Fedorov.
Paverbeek comes to the wings.
Good pause, Stick.
Denver's going to get
Paverbeek comes to the wings. Thomas Holmstrom's going to give him 15. Okay, whoever came to wear 15. Thank you, historian. Thank God I got it. You're right. Whoever wore 15 after Homer, who was it? Okay,
Taylor,
all right.
number
You know
15.
what? Shit, you got me. Dude, I just got slow rolled. This guy, I got my heavyweights, my Woodward heavyweights over there. There they are. Look at them. Yeah. Sit down, boys. Don't need you right now. That's a good point. Anyways, so we can get through this game. Homer said, do I get to choose my number? And Scotty said, well, what number would you choose? And he said, well, 96, the year I came in the league. And he said, great choice, because it's the year you're going to leave also.
Roll tape.
playing this puck and the icing called. No score in this one. Inside 4 minutes gone. First period.
See, they're booing me again
Likes
for
to
doing
stop the puck
nothing.
with his body, but he leaves rebounds. And the big thing with Denver, Colorado, is that they off the draw they score. Peter Forsberg to Valerie Kamensky.
I remember that.
1-0.
Ticky won. I didn't
What a
even do
blast
anything.
by
I mean, anybody else, like, you're just standing around and
And
face-off.
those
Guy can't win a
face-offs,
draw and you're
no
minus
chance
one.
for Vernon to get this
Kaminsky,
puck.
good player.
Unbelievable.
Face-offs, face-offs,
Great
face-offs.
teammate, incredibly skilled.
And a clean win by the Avalanche. Right back to Kamensky, who was in the slot.
Again, it
And
didn't
no
start
mistake,
out
Peter
good for the home
beats
team.
Larionov. Boom. I mean, that's
Wow.
as quickly as it happens. All over. And no chance for Vernon's top shelf under the bar. Avalanche on top. They can hurt you, Mike, in so many ways, this team. That's why they're the defending champs and favored to win again.
See, I didn't notice how many
Nobody else.
times I was on the ice with Claude before something happened, because
Now
as
the
you can
puck will
see,
be
we're out
taken
there
out
right
by
now, but we
Kamensky.
got to win the game, so
24th
that's the
goal of the year.
imperativeness of what we're thinking.
Right off a clean face-off win by Peter Forsberg. And Colorado leads 1-0. The time of the goal, 3:29. Played behind to Adam Foote. Foote will get it, and they work it up ahead to Lemieux. Claude Lemieux towards Kamensky. And down deep, it's Vernon, who whips it around the boards to McCarty. Ahead towards Igor Larionov.
I was not going to finish that hit.
Puck taken by Lidstrom. And inside the zone was Holmstrom. And the offsides will be called. Clean face-off win by Peter Forsberg.
You don't see him this clean very often. You see Kamensky back in the hole. And he just smokes it right away.
Way to
Didn't
get in
waste
front of
any
it,
time coming
Shanny.
off the stick of Forsberg either, right back to Kamensky.
Valerie Kamensky.
That one.
Hasn't put up the numbers he did 1 season ago, but he is part of an extremely balanced attack that is owned by the Colorado Avalanche.
Lulling him into a
They have
sense of
8
security,
different
as you
guys
can see.
who have scored 18 goals this year. Of course, Joe Sakic is the goal leader with 46 1 year ago. Kozlov will work it at center. Ward tries to move it ahead. And now the hit on the play on Brent Severin. And an offside call.
Severin's a tough kid, boy, out of Florida. The pusher's certainly in it, up to his neck with this guy. And he's a veteran, knows how to fight.
Strong towel, isn't he?
Now Severin just holding on. Pusher got a couple of short chops in.
Stick, hit pause for a second.
Extra length
Stick,
in
hit
the
pause for a
Pusher's a
second.
gamer.
Darren, Claude, this is first of how many fights, that game?
I know,
I don't
it's
remember
BS.
much.
There's only 8. There's
Eight or nine?
only 8. I always thought there was 9. We'll get to why there's only 9, not 8, when we get to it. But
So-
this is number 1, and this sort of, as you can see, and always, Jamie Pusher was always that time of guy. What a great team guy, willing to set it up. And I was saying to Claude, Brett Severin is, you see him later fights Aaron Ward. He's jacked, and he's tough, too. So this is, this is, again, part of the mentality of, okay, not getting pushed around. And, but a lot of times back in the day, this is what sort of, as you can see, the game was sort of a feeling out, obviously, right?
Right.
You can see the imperativeness on our part to win, right? And getting behind. So this is a way to Jamie Pusher's looking to change the momentum.
So,
And that was,
Darren, you brought up a good point, too, before about retribution versus winning the game, right? You had to win the game. You wanted to win the game, and you were trying to find that balance of, I'm going to get Claude.
we had to win the game. We were trying to win the game because
But
they owned us.
But I think that night that the fans could have cared less if you won the game or not.
Oh.
I think they had something else in mind.
Listen,
At least
everybody in
the
here,
way I
because
look
we're all
at it.
DMAC.
What do you
Now,
think?
we
That
know
was a
that,
big.
Claude.
That was
We
a
know
big
that.
bonus that you guys won the game and then you scored the winner.
Well, and the fact that, and then we won 4 cups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the precipice.
Not a whole lot. Severin hung on pretty good. He's not an overly big guy, Brent Severin, but he can handle himself pretty darn well. And he's the guy that really they look to for this kind of stuff without the big guy there anymore.
Show of hands, how many
Joe
people were in
Carolina, not a tough guy. Not
Joe
necessarily
Lewis that
a
night?
fighting tough guy, Mike, but Severin
I
can
got you.
handle
I
himself
counted
very
you
well.
already.
And Jamie Pusher has had at very least an interesting year. He's challenged a lot of bigger guys and a lot of older veteran guys that are a lot more experienced at fighting than he has at this level. And generally speaking, he's taken a couple of major pops, got his nose skinned up and come right back, but he's learned an awful lot.
Enrico Ciccone, the hit earlier this year.
Right. That was a big one. But that's how you learn at this level, boy.
There's the balanced attack I was mentioning a moment ago. Look at that. Deadmarsh with 31 goals to lead the way. Of course, Forsberg and Sakic have missed some games.
Guys, you want to say some more? Keep talking.
Yeah, no. The commenting on the way fighting sort of changed and shoulder pads, a lot of it where you see guys wore, like Shaney still wore pee-wee shoulder pads. I wore smaller ones to get in and out of it. And Claude was saying he wore big ones, and he said, yeah, when you fight a guy with big ones, you can control their head with pulling their shoulder pads the bigger they are.
Defenseman is that man, Sandis Ozolic.
This guy, he's a coffee type player, and he's really developed since coming over from San Jose and the trade there. He moves up into the play and really makes Forsberg and Sakic and Deadmarsh and these guys that much more effective. And good enough skating to get that.
I think the biggest difference I'm seeing today is this game was not on HD, right? This was definitely not high definition.
Isn't it crazy though? Like,
It's amazing how much
that
has
is
changed.
all.
They basically say, hey, go for it, kid.
Darren, how bad were you looking for Claude at this time? It was part of the game.
well, I think that it reflected is that. See, usually like to go out off the draw or whatever like that to go do it, but it's picking the spot, picking the right time, because you see it sort of leading up to then. Whether he said he wasn't ready, but lulling him into a little side.
I don't think we've been out.
Yeah, we had. Yeah, I see him. Trust me.
Okay, so we've been out already?
Yeah, you were on the ice for that goal. I should have jumped off the face-off, but that wouldn't work. Then you would have had the story to it.
If they were playing in a critical situation in the playoffs.
Off the draw again.
Again, we're not, and when we say that,
Vernon. So a
we
clean
don't
face-off
end
win
up
that time.
coming near, because you can come near to have a conversation or say something to a guy or you see it. There's time. It's not like you're, so it's more of me making a conscious case not to. Because if I get close to him, I'm going to do something.
Deadmarsh makes the save. There is a penalty going to be called for interference by Paul
Bulldog.
Dvorsky.
Marty
And
Lapointe
the
was a
Red
tough
Wings,
kid.
I believe we'll have another man advantage
Wasn't
here
like
as Sakic heads to the
strong
penalty
as
box.
heck, man. I think he was like bench press his body weight like 35 times.
A couple of scoring chances.
But it's
for
like
Colorado.
he was tough.
Joe Sakic, pair number 19. He and
Stop
Eisenman,
right
and
there.
Sakic with
Stop
the
right there.
That was dirty.
Can somebody
That's
take a picture of that? I want to send this to Stevie.
That's
Just to say that his idol, Joe, like these two, what you see there are the mirror images of each other, in my opinion, of leaders. And I used to say all the time is that Stevie and I would, and how do I know this? Because we would sit on the bench when we were on the ice with him and watch him and his quick release and the way that he shot the puck. But right there, like for that rivalry, if I like the picture of whatever is like shows you also too, right? What Kurt said that everybody was involved in that. You don't think of Joe Sakic and Steve Yzerman as dirty guys or dirty plays or that, but that's on both ends that you have those two well-respected, most respected guys probably in each organization. Right? And look at what they're doing now. But that, to me, that just tells the whole story of the rivalry.
looks like Joe's stick was a little too long that night. He's trying to cut off 6 inches.
That's all right. I mean, hey, you know what? I never thought that of Joe Sakic, and now Joe Sakic, you know what? I don't feel so bad.
Is that what he called? Oh, okay, right here. There you go. Yeah, the arm around Eisenman, and down he goes. So, but just to finish the thought on Ozolin's, Mike.
The only illegal part was the end, right? The hook and everything.
This is Mr. Sakic, who's going for a new contract. Mark Crawford doesn't have anything
That
to do with
hair
that.
was perfect all the time.
Who's upstairs tonight, but
Wasn't it?
Crawford himself just signed a new deal.
It never moved,
after
did it?
last year. One of the bright young minds in this game today.
So Sakic goes for interference. Severin Pusher in the box. Already, of course, 5 minutes each for fighting. And the Red Wings with their second power play of the game here in the first 5.5 minutes. Shanahan, Larionov, McCarty with Lidstrom and Yzerman. Nick Lidstrom lost the puck, and it comes back outside. And the Red Wings retreat into their own zone.
Watching this game back, you know what? Like early on, as far as the playoff score, the intensity's not there yet. Like in the playoff games, right? But it's you can feel it amping up.
21. Yzerman wanted to move it in deep. Larionov controls at the blue line. Keane flips it ahead. Forsberg will get to the puck first. Now on Lidstrom. And he ties up Forsberg. 3 Red Wings in deep, trying to move the puck through Peter Forsberg. And now it's Deadmarsh with it. The shot. And a stick save made by Mike Vernon. Deadmarsh creating havoc inside the Red Wing zone. And now Yzerman will work it across to Nick Lidstrom. Bounced off the boards and played to Marty Lapointe, who works it up ahead to Shanahan. Looking across to Sandstrom. Fedorov's in front, so Shanahan. Sandstrom couldn't center. To the point in Murphy. The drive. Shanahan. Save made. Patrick Waugh.
Talking about Brendan Shanahan's one-timer, but how impressive he could get it off from anywhere.
There's a foot open on
He would have scored any one of those. He would have had 50 that year. That's all I'm saying.
There's a broken play. Shot went off the leg of a forward, a Colorado forward, and right to Shanahan. But by the time he took the puck, handled it, brought it back in towards himself. Watch right here. Here's Shanahan earlier on the breakaway. Tried to go 5-hole. Patrick just nonchalantly closed him up. Look at that. You got to go top shelf with this guy, boy, and you better be accurate with it. Shanahan can do that.
Here is Murphy. 17 seconds left in the second power play of the period for the Wings. Towards the point, Fedorov, he kept it in. No, he didn't. It came out into the zone as Scampanella calls the offsides.
Red Wings don't want to get impatient here. You got top team in the league here. Yes, there's frustration from the past, but they got to do their best to try to keep that down and just look at this as another hockey game. And they want to play well. They want to stay within their system and play well and consistent against them. They did that much of that game in Colorado. That was a pretty darn good hockey game. And again on that breakaway, he's talking to himself about trying to go through the legs there.
Shanahan leading the league with 20 power play goals. Pete Jones, more power play goals this season than his entire career combined coming into this year. He has been very good in man advantage situations for the Avalanche. The shot wide from Fedorov. Out of the box comes Joe Sakic. Fedorov now a drive. Saved by Waugh. Now it's Holmstrom. Sakic on Holmstrom. And he is taken down. Kept in at the blue line and dumped back in deep by Mike Knuble.
Claude just asked me what was the final score of this game, and I told him 6-5, and he went, 6-5? In this tight checking game?
Backed on by Eric Lacroix.
That's what 25 years will do to you, right?
His own zone, advances it to Holmstrom. He tried to leave it for Aaron Ward, regains his balance, and flips it up and over the stick of Miller. Waugh will play. He leaves for Sandis Ozolinsh. Ozolinsh carries it ahead to Adam Deadmarsh. Deadmarsh knocked off the puck by Constantine.
Darren, would you say the intensity's starting to pick up at this point?
I think you can feel it because you know what? You know how you always feel it, and keep this in mind to LCA.
Keith Jones.
Here, you gues. Right? You guys feel it. You guys feel it. Get the team into it and it gets the guys up. So, a lot of it.
Kamensky, the goal scorer for Colorado. It is 1-0.
The Red have a couple of blasts at Patrick Waugh. Got the toe on that one. Knuble looked like he got a piece of it. That's what he has to do, go to the front of the net. Use that size of his to block the goaltender and try to get a redirect, just like that. Waugh makes it look so darn easy, Rick, you know? It's amazing. Positionally, he's so good.
Konstantinov tried to kick it ahead. Now Lemieux on Konstantinov. And up ahead to Brendan Shanahan. Shanahan tried to clear it on the backhand. It hit Forsberg, and Kamensky will play. Forsberg, Kamensky, and Lemieux. Turned over. Larionov. Now into the zone. Konstantinov, and Waugh flips it over to Lemieux again. He is hit by Shanahan. Forsberg hits it ahead, and now the puck played by Konstantinov. 10 minutes, 49 seconds remaining here in the first period. 5 shots for the
Claude, tell everybody what you just said about Vladdy.
Peter Forsberg working to the bench slowly. He got a stick up high. And Larionov left it there for Murphy. Gusarov. He has been hit by Marty Lapointe before. Thrown in front of the net by Sergei Fedorov.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier with Vladdy. He was definitely one of the strongest and toughest defensemen I played against. People will always ask me, or often ask me, who are the toughest guys that you played against? And Vladdy, Konstantinov, and Ulf Samuelsson were 2 of the toughest I ever played against. It had nothing to do with fighting, as they were both, you know, if you didn't have your head up, they were coming across the ice, and then around the net they were so strong and they were dirty, so they were incredible competitors and great players. I'm watching this game and I can't believe how bad I was playing, to be honest with you guys.
What were you thinking about? Were you thinking about what was going to happen? Is that why?
No, I don't. I guess now looking back, I just wasn't playing my game. It looked like I was skating in circles, avoiding traffic, which I made a living in traffic. So my subconscious probably that night was, you know, don't go start anything, don't go finish anything, which
And you
if I'd played like that my whole career, I would have been out of hockey in 2 years. So.
Was play his brains out in Quebec. And
Well, you said even Crawford said something to you, right? Don't dance around out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine those poor Quebec fans.
But that was the year before. That's before the hit on
That
Chris.
team in 1 year they go to Denver and look at it.
Now, they were pretty darn good last couple of years in Quebec. And they were the top seed in the
Starting
East.
to pick up.
In the East before the move to Colorado. Got upset in the first round. Oh, my. The Rangers. Dan Deneau had a shot at it in front of the net. Mulpey.
Talk about dirty there. That guy's dirty.
And here is Murphy.
How many times I go into a scrum and guys be taking try shots at him.
Troop will play behind Waugh. He'll try to bring it out. Murphy back at center. Flipped over to Draper. Ooh.
Oh, Chris Draper's offside. Go figure.
Maltby stuck his nose in towards Rennie Corbet.
This came about because of a couple of big hits by Maltby. Biggest guy on the ice is Uwe Krupp.
Quick fact,
6'2",
when I
pounds plus.
went to Calgary to play, I lived in Rennie Corbet's house.
Giant.
Corby was a great guy, great competitor,
Great
great
landlord,
teammate.
too.
Corby
Great
was
landlord.
awesome.
Cranked up by Aaron Ward back in Denver. Look out, there we go. Maltby drops him.
Who was he tangled up with there?
Maltby, so it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're not going to
That one
hurt
early,
each other.
so
Like River's looking at them
would be a
going,
short
all
one.
right. They'll probably pull each other's
fight
hair
in the
and
long rest.
scratch each other's face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like two of the same guys.
Now Draper's getting whistled over by Dvorsky.
And
as
yes,
well.
I think
Why, I don't
you
know.
feel the intensity starting to,
Strongly throwing his arm at the box and at Draper. Like,
at
you
least
get
on
over
our
there
part.
Right now.
You know what I'm saying? Like on our, you could see
Figure
us.
this one out.
Yeah, you can feel it. And, you know, often the
After Paul Dvorsky has it.
people
figured out.
will ask, like, do you guys feel the energy? Do you feel the crowd? We definitely feel it. I mean, you're on the bench. If it's a quiet game, it's a quiet crowd.
Really all
You
started
can feed off the
near the
energy
end. There was the
both ways,
clean hit.
and
Jones
you know
took
when it's
exception to
coming
that.
your way.
Just
Yeah,
the
so
way
hey,
that Maltby went
stop
at
for
it.
a second, Stick. Hey,
Very
so Darren, you
vigorous
brought up a
and
question earlier.
And animated with his body.
You asked how
language,
many
and there
people
was
were in the arena at that
Corbett
time to
taking
watch
a
the
shoulder
game,
from
right?
Maltby.
My
That's
question
really
is,
what
how
got
many
it
people
going.
were watching the game on
There.
TV at that time?
They tangled. There's
Look at
Draper
that.
with a hold on Corbett.
Look at that.
Maybe why he's ended up in the penalty box. I like this guy back at the blue line, Mike.
What are the advantages having Sergei Fedorov at the point?
So much more room. He can come from back.
Darren, were
there,
you
join
upset
the
that you
rush,
weren't the
as I pointed
first guy
out
in the
before.
penalty box that
And
night?
He can start without somebody
no.
around him.
You were waiting for the opportunity.
No, no, I just wanted to make sure that my time would be served well.
I mean, it's not feasible
It's all
to do
about
that, but
timing.
I like him back there.
Life's about time and
Great ability to
sports,
play
this,
defense.
everything, which remind me too after we get to the event about
Speed of his, you already saw
why
the
there's
example
only 8
tonight
fights.
where- Well, he comes from
Which is
back
ridiculous.
there. Wingers are kind of slowed
Ridiculous.
down to get people slowing up at the blue line. He can blow by him. And
So there's,
he can create all kinds
what's
of
that,
stuff
2?
back there. Be an interesting, I don't want to call it an experiment because he's done it before.
Look at this Colorado power play. Last year in the playoffs, 7 of 26 in the 6-game series, and the Colorado power play has been the difference in the season series this year, with Colorado winning all 3
guys
games
always had
thus
a great
far.
power play.
7 for 22 for Mark
Really good.
Crawford's team.
Because
There's his
things
perfect
that-
hair. His perfect hair.
Power play, and he
There it
said,
is, hair
"I think
model.
against good teams that you respect, you just bear down, especially in a power play situation where you know you have an advantage for a couple of minutes." And that third-ranked power play of Colorado's has been very effective against the Detroit Red Wings. And they have had a couple of 5-on-3 situations which got them back into the last 2 games played against the Red Wings when the Red Wings had led. So Draper ends up taking the extra penalty, and Colorado has its first power play of the night. Red Wing penalty kill, nothing to overlook either. It has been very good all season long. Comes in tonight ranked number 6 in the NHL. Jones is the big power play scorer. He is not out there right now. Lemieux is there with Sakic and Kamensky, Krupp and Ozolinsh. Lynch moving in, deep to the backhand, and Wall was there again.
It was like an iron wall that night for a while, wasn't it? It was like an iron curtain.
That time. My, my. Short-handed. I'm not sure if he tried to go between the legs of Waugh or not here. If he did, it may be the last time he does because he stoned him twice. Let's see. Does he intentionally go? Good protect by the leg.
What did he do wrong, Darren?
Tried to tuck it there.
What did he do wrong? You scored.
He didn't hang on long enough, you know. The puck was rolling a little bit.
Perfectly done by Brendan Shanahan to protect the
Another
protector.
split second.
Use your left arm, your left
He's
leg.
fine.
If he tries to get at it, all he gets is a piece of those. And that
It wasn't a
won't hurt
one-time.
you. Not when you're going for a goal.
The breakaway.
Patrick Waugh is unbelievable. He was unbelievable last night, Mike, in Hartford. They outshot Colorado like 23-8 or something in the first period. Colorado was up 2-0, and Waugh was stood on his ear.
Patrick Waugh got the shutout, his 37th career shutout last night in the 4-0 win over the Hartford Whalers. He made 46 saves. He's the tops amongst active goaltenders with 37 shutouts. Ed Belfour, the next closest, with 31. Murphy clears it down the length of the ice surface. Brendan Shanahan has all 3 scoring chances so far tonight for the Red Wings.
Unbelievable. Fedorov just completed a shift at defense, killing a penalty. I mean, that's as tough as it gets out there for a forward boy. I think he likes it personally. I think he likes being back there.
Are you two thinking about your line changes at all? About when you're going to be back out there together again? Is that going through your mind at all at any point?
I could tell you absolutely, you know what, getting into the game, there's always that time, like the clock, there's time left to figure it out. But bottom line is to win the game. So I know by watching my temperament on the ice or whatever that I turn that out. It's in the back of my mind. I'm always ready, but no, this is about the game. And that's what made the rivalry so great.
And Konstantinov on the far side boards. Puck taken by the Red Wings. Ahead it's Chris Draper. Draper with Krupp. Driven off the play and pushed into the boards. And Severin. They'll play it over to Sylvain Lefebvre. He can't clear. Now back to Krupp. Aaron Ward steps up on Brent Severin. He will take every opportunity he can, 27 White. Pusher. Now we'll flip it into the zone. And to go down, he holds on. We'll step aside, 6:49 remaining in the first period. Waugh has been very good.
We're getting close.
Kamensky is 24th of the year from Forsberg.
You guys breaking a sweat over there yet? Are you guys breaking a sweat at all watching this?
I'm still hoping for a good shift. I'm like, did I have a good shift in that game? I don't think it's going to happen. I think it only got worse for me.
Well, we know it did for the Avalanche.
Now ahead, Kamensky steps out of the way of Konstantinov. Forsberg. Stick handling in traffic. Watch out, he's in front of the net. Puck is still free. And the shot off the stick of Lemieux went wide. Marianoff tangles with Forsberg. And the puck taken back at center. Konstantinov makes the move. Nice pass across to Shanahan. Hit clock towards McCarty. And the loose puck swept aside. Shanahan drives number 5, Alexei Gusarov, into the boards.
It's coming.
Deliberate.
Konstantinov.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Forsberg not pleased with the happenings a moment ago. That puck almost snuck through the stick of Waugh. And Shanahan hits Lemieux.
Well, they're out of their seats here. They cannot wait for something to happen.
Lemieux motioning with some stick work. He'd be tangling with the wrong guy. Look at Shanahan in a defensive role, doing a nice job on Claude Lemieux. Murphy. And Shanahan, the veteran, knows you got to keep your head up when that guy's around. 4:53 remains in the first.
Get up and go.
Heat up here on pass.
Now, I got to tell you guys a story.
Brendan
While
Shanahan.
especially
Along
that
with
they're
Keith
showing
Jones, Adam Denmarsh, also here
Shanahan.
tonight.
I
3 of
played
11
with
players
Shanny
in
in
the NHL,
New Jersey
20
when he was a
goals and
young
100 penalty
young
minutes
player just
on the
breaking in,
season.
and I absolutely love that kid. And I thought that if if I had another child, if I had a boy, that I would name him. And at the time, I was married to my former wife, and I had 2 boys already. And so to think about if I had another son, I'd name him Brendan. And so, unfortunately, got divorced in 1994 and remarried with Deborah in 95. We had a son, and as I wished, named him after Brendan Shanahan. And so I shared that story with Shanny, but then all of a sudden I'm playing in Colorado, and I think I shared a story at the World Cup in '96, and long story short, we didn't talk off the ice, we didn't socialize in the summertime or anything like that, and then I forget what year it was. Our equipment manager came back from the All-Star game. He said, "I have something for you." And Brendan Shanahan had autographed his All-Star game jersey and gifted to us for Brendan.
And Brendan is now, hey Claude, Brendan is doing what now?
And he's playing hockey, and he's playing for the LA Kings, and I'm awfully proud of my son, of course.
I think that
He's living the dream. But it just goes to show you that, we were at the highest point of a rivalry, but there was still that mutual respect that existed and the memories of the old days. And that's what's so great about hockey players and guys being able to separate on and off the ice.
Yeah,
the only thing I could relate to that is I named my English Bulldog Hank Zeta after Zetterberg because that's how cool he is. So it's sort of close. Maz, I get points.
Shanahan with 45 goals and just signed to a contract extension through the next century, the season 99-2000. Well, congratulations to Brendan Shanahan. Certainly well-deserved in his first season as a Red Wing. He has done everything and more, becoming the 5th player in NHL.
I hope you're ready. Here we go.
Goals with 3 different teams. One of those guys, Dino Ciccarelli. Look at the plus-minus also. Shanny, a career high, plus 32. His best season prior to this was back in 89-90 with the New Jersey Devils when he was a plus 15. His teammate back in New Jersey, you guessed it, Claude Lemieux.
Are we getting close, guys?
Dave Yzerman wins the faceoff. Fedorov unable to keep it in at the blue line. He has been paired with Larry Murphy. LaPointe's pass intercepted. Stephen Yell, top of the dot shot. And it went wide of Vernon. 4 minutes, 20 seconds remains. To the near side in LaPointe. He spins it out. And Sylvain Lefebvre will chase it down. In on the forecheck is Yzerman. Lefebvre plays it back behind the net. Sandstrom on Kroot. Maltby. And Keane. He is dunked by Ward. And Pusher works it out of the zone behind the net. Back at center. Puck will be played by Aaron Miller. Delayed offsides is called.
Keane took the stick and stuck it right into Ward's chest. Spear fashion, and then went to the bench. So you're gonna like being roughed up by number 27 there a moment ago.
Aaron Ward has had some big hits on some Avalanche players. This time, Mike Keane, the victim. Aaron Ward had the hit back in the game in December and sent Rennie Corbet out of the lineup for the night. Mike Vernon standing at 299 career victories. Number 29, an 11-year NHL veteran in his 3rd season with the Red Wings. Ironically, his last shutout came against the Colorado Avalanche about a year ago when the Red Wings won that game 7-0. Dan Deneau tried to play it out, and now it is Jamie Pusher. Taken by Sakic. Here is Maltby. 3 minutes, 3 seconds remaining in the first period, and the Red Wings trailing 1-0. Miller gets it across. Souza Lynch towards Young.
Pay attention.
And the offside called against the Colorado Avalanche. Well, it's a showdown in Hockey Town when the USA Collegiate All-Stars and Canadian Collegiate All-Stars face off in the World University Hockey Championship.
Darren and Claude, was there talk in the locker room before this game about what was going to happen? Was it premeditated? Was it thought about? Was it?
313, I mentioned it all the time. The only thing that was ever said was we need a break when I got him out of the hospital.
Operators
take care of it.
are standing
Other than
by.
that, that's it. So, no, it was sort of
Ron Mason will be one of the
understood. Like I said, there's that subtleties in hockey that are sort of who's going to take care of it. It's the ebbs and flows. So it was sort of understood. But the premeditated part is it doesn't matter what happens. We got to win the game.
And center around the back of the net, Waugh. He's had 3 quality saves on Shanahan here. The shot deflected just wide. Kozlov took it from the point. Knuble and Holmstrom. 2 young but big physical players were down low. Mike Knuble playing in his first NHL game. Recently recalled from Adirondack. Of course, with the trading deadline passed, there are no roster limitations. And Knuble can come up and play the rest of the year. And Scotty Bowman and the coaching staff decide that's what they want. Vernon made the save on Rennie Corbet. Now it's Holmstrom trying to move around Lefebvre. And Colorado's Peter Forsberg plays it. Konstantinov came in hard on Forsberg. Lidstrom to McCarty. Here is Larionov. Avalanche holding the Red Wings in their own zone. Larionov and Forsberg away from the play. Peter Forsberg took a swipe.
Hey, Stick, stop for a second. Darren, you made a great comment when this happened. It was like, what, 2 puppies?
Oh, I looked, we're waiting for a reaction, and it's sort of the responsibility. It's like when you look over and it's like, oh, I mentioned it earlier, Rennie Corbet and Kirk Maltby fighting. If Claude and I are on the bench, we're like, these guys aren't going to hurt themselves. What are they going to pull each other's hair or slap each other? So your initial thing is like, and Forsberg's hard, but when I look over, because if you see, I sort of do that loop where I can see what's going on. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cute. Puppies on Christmas morning. But then I'm like, Igor Larionov, second biggest pacifist next to Gandhi in life. He's had enough, and you see, he starts swinging, so I know, right? So that's the thing. I know he's on the ice. I know he's, and it makes so much sense to listen to him talk about not being engaged in the game, about perimeter. Because watch how he doesn't come in. If you watch the way Claude plays, he sort of comes in like he's going to get it served up. Now, this man is smart enough. I'm not the first guy or the last guy to try to take his head off or want to cause him bodily harm on the ice. So that's why it's so imperative to hear about where his mentality was, because a lot of times I was. And then right here, everything was premeditated right there. It was all about trying to remove his head from his body.
This was the door that opened for you.
No, that's where it is where you have to, and I say to everybody, motivationally, is please manifest your own reality and wish for it. But gosh darn it, don't wish for it if when it comes you're not going to take it. You're just going to sit there on the side of the road, save it for somebody else. So I knew that this was it. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that this was it. Now you got to remember, when you see this, right, Adam Foote, his teammate, realizes I'm on the ice, like I realized Claude's on the ice. Who's the biggest threat? Eliminate the threat. He grabs me. Shady realizes that. Inside the room, realized Shady could have gone after Claude. I could have squared off with Foote. But like Shady says in the Russian 5, was sort of like, unwritten rule that it was my gig. Get out my match. Don't touch my toys. And
We see Igor Larionov go, but he did, and now Darren McCarty.
stop it. Because I think, Claude, the fact that, and you could tell all these people here, because they always say turtle and always say you turtled, when you told me that's not the case. So I could tell them what you told me, but I want you to tell them when I hit you right there.
Well, I mean, I think we're going to get a better angle of this, but, from replays, I believe you hit me with the glove on, and all I remember afterwards is I'm down and I'm getting hit. So anyone that's been hit, anybody that plays the game, you got to be smart, like, when you're in trouble. So I knew I was in trouble, so you hang on tight, you take a beating, and, it'll be what it'll be. Now, from that point on until I got hit and then I got close to the board, like I didn't, from that point on, I don't know where I'm at. I'm just hanging on.
Almost unconscious at that
No,
point.
I was conscious, but it's
Yeah.
like maybe
But
I didn't want to be there.
The birds are
but-
up there.
Yeah.
Your bell's rung.
Yeah.
Like we say the old thing about you see guys getting hit and woozy like that. Yeah. I mean, hopefully I hit you
Possibly,
hard
but
enough
I'm-
to make you woozy.
Not an excuse to, anybody that's been in a fight, you get in that position, there's no fight to be had. Like, you're done. So
So that was
You-
self-preservation.
yeah, so you're just hanging on and
You were done.
you take your beating and you're done, and then, you guys know there was another opportunity the following year, and that's when you have a better chance.
Yeah.
But definitely not. But looking at the whole game, I was clearly avoiding anything. I thought I looked horrible, and I was avoiding any body contact, and probably because I just didn't want to get into anything, and certainly didn't want this to happen, but it's happening.
It
so.
happened. It definitely happened.
Yeah.
And look who came all the way out to try to help. Patrick Waugh. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was
There's
true.
a knee. There's a knee.
There's a welt on his head still from the knee,
Darren McCarty.
right? And
Right back here.
to Claude's credit, there it is. Oh, that one got him. Like, look at these old battle dogs.
I thought that was the best fight of them all, right there.
Oh.
Those two guys.
Lemieux was hammered.
Probably in the whole rivalry.
And he is being helped into the locker room.
That's cowboy tough. That's it, man.
Now, the crazy thing is those two goalies finished the game. I mean, today's rules, they'd be out for 2 weeks. But
Vernon and Waugh square off.
Well, you guys shared that summer before this. You were in the boxing ring practicing that summer
no,
before.
that's the summer following this.
Right. Oh, okay. You were in the boxing ring getting ready.
This is before, because you got to remember.
Look at Darren McCarty.
We'll talk about there. There it is, buddy, right there. How long did it take you to get your
Waugh
bearings?
bloodied up. Peter Ford.
Claude,
How long did it take you to get your bearings? Like, what is it?
You know what? I was in the room, and I was bleeding pretty bad. I was cut, and your normal reaction. You want to get back out there. You want to get stitched up, and the doctor trainer's like, "No, you're done." But
To seek redemption.
yeah, I didn't feel too good about it. That's for sure.
Darren, what were you saying across the glass there? You were
Say
saying
what you
something
will
to somebody. You remember what you were
Of the
saying?
situation.
It wasn't nice.
Say what you will.
I mean,
about
no, but if you want to see, and
This is what has happened
it's
here
so
tonight.
more apparent as how many times I've watched this, but the build-up and everything to everybody else. So
Forsberg with an
right
extra hit to the head.
there is when I said, I went, whoa. And maybe in life that's a lesson, not the biggest, the smartest, the strongest, or what in this case the smartest, but the crazy, but it's the wisest, the eldest. I mean, I don't know if he's 45 at this time or something.
But if I can put it all in perspective, like from my point of view, this was big. This was, you know, a lot of physical play, a lot of fights. But I had lived through way worse than this in my early years. In 1987, with the Canadiens against Philadelphia, it started in the warm-up. We fought both teams, guys in flip-flops, no referees. We fought for 15 minutes. Now, it was crazy. And we got separated by police officers, and it was an all-out. It wasn't 5-on-5. It was, one side had 20 guys, the other side had Philly. You remember Philly always dressed 25, 26 guys.
In warm-up.
So their top guys stayed in the room, and then the tough guys came back out. We had this routine of, you know, being the last guy off the ice, putting the puck in the empty net. Anyway, went back out. It was a mess. Another brawl I remember in Boston with Chris Nyland, Kenny Linsman, and everyone was fighting. So it wasn't like this was the all-time worst of the worst, but the fact that with the magnitude of the rivalry off the ice, with the fans, with the death threats, with everything that, you know, even with, I remember being at the World Cup and the president of Hockey Canada speaking, and I'm sitting there, we're about to start the tournament, and his entire speech is about Hockey Canada tracking about hits from behind. Well, I mean, I felt that big. Here's the president of Hockey Canada saying, the way hockey's been played, some of the hits that have been, you know, laid on players.
He was talking about you.
He was
directly.
talking about me.
Yeah.
And didn't feel too good. So going to golf tournament, representing Team Canada, being introduced, getting booed by my own people, didn't feel too good. So as I said last night, this incident and what took place was and still probably to this day one of the dark clouds on, you know, what I consider having a very successful career.
No, I would too. You're one of the greatest playoff competitors, performers, Conn Smythe, 4 Cups, just so you're a gamer and stuff like that, and to that sort of fact. But my question is, though, it's because we said it was because this was like it's sort of like me in sobriety. This was it. It was either gonna like this was our moment. You guys you got to remember they're the defending champs, so they got a swagger. We got to get through them and stuff like this. That's why the epitome. But if both these teams, because you mentioned different, you know, brawls and stuff like this, but those weren't on cup teams. These are two of the greatest teams. Absolutely. And the rivalry. So that's why it all amplified. With the personal feelings.
Absolutely.
With the talent. Like, we're just sitting here going, oh, man. You remember him, like Dadmarsh and Scott Young and all these guys, Mike Keane and the guys that were, oh, man, they were great. We could talk about them all along, but it's the imperativeness of what it is.
Yeah, it was a seminal moment for Detroit sports, though, right? I mean, that was a moment for Detroit that changed history in hockey history.
No, but this is where it is. And Claude said it earlier. If it ends here, but this is not the end of the story, right? This is just like the caveat along the way that you got to you know, get that revenge. But the whole thing is about the whole game because, yeah, it would have meant something, but it probably would have meant more like, oh, remember that brawl back when 30 guys are fighting back in the day where it wasn't allowed? No, this was something epic. This is, you know, this is Lord of the Rings, you know, stuff. This is like Star Wars stuff.
Because we know how it finishes.
And it's real.
Right? Yeah. And we know how it ends. That's the good news.
We hope it does. I hope it ends the same way.
And to your point, you know, I got to play against you guys later on when I was playing with Phoenix. After I left Colorado, I had a short journey in New Jersey, won in 2000, and then took a contract, moved to Phoenix. I was playing for a team that was not very competitive, and it was not the same. Right?
No, it wasn't.
I was still not very much liked by you guys when I came in, but, you know, the fans weren't into it. The rivalry did not exist between Phoenix and, you know, the Detroit Red Wings, regardless that I was on that team. You know, thinking of events after this that I I remember our 4 or 5 years after being retired, we have one of the better youth hockey tournaments is happening in Detroit. And I'm coaching my son, and I'm thinking, I wonder how it's going to be. And credit to the people of Detroit and the hockey fans here. I had never had one bad incident coming back to Detroit when we did the first signing together. The fans have always been incredibly, I know it's been hard, but the fans have always been incredibly respectful. When I came here with my son and coached him and was involved with youth hockey, the fans were great and always very respectful. And
Let's give it up for the Detroit fans. Yeah, absolutely.
And for you to be able to articulate that, but also too is that's the people of this area. And I joke all the time is, guys, I don't know if you know this, but now Oscar Sundqvist, but that's Mo Sider's agent. So you better get used to playing nice with this guy. So that's why I'm doing my due diligence. We're all going to have a little bit different understanding of all this that is so much a part of us moving forward as Claude helps us try to win another cup.
Woohoo! Yeah. There we go.
And he gets the headlock on Peter.
I have no idea what Forsberg was thinking.
Hey, you should be mad at him.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Patrick Waugh and Mike Vernon.
No, right here. Slip it. Slip it. No!
Oh!
Patrick Waugh.
That was a left. That was a left.
And that was, you get caught when you hit a guy and you sort of tear it up, too.
And Patrick Waugh has
Like-
a heck of a size advantage.
Was this one of those where you went to a fight and a hockey game broke out?
He was hammered by Darren
Yeah, you don't look
McCarty.
too good.
No, that was not good.
McCarty came in, and he went after Claude Lemieux. Took the helmet off and got a shot or two in.
Oh, I didn't think I got you good. I might have got you good with that first one.
Came to Lemieux's rescue. And look at who stepped in on Patrick Waugh.
That's, like,
Brendan
unbelievable.
Shanahan.
Oh, yeah, and the fact that, like, I don't know till after watching the replay, but, like, Waugh's about this far from
Here's how
getting...
Darren got loose. And he got the shot.
Hey, okay, so do me a favor and go watch Claude Lemieux in Jersey against us or in the playoffs or the last year or whatever like that. To what he is saying, that looks like a guy that thinks he's invisible, that I'm not coming after him or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's not a typical, so everything, how it played out, but yeah, once he's there, I mean, it's a cold cock.
Wrong place, wrong time.
And you're a lefty too, Darren. You get him with your right.
Well, I got him with the right out the
think
gate
he was
because
right.
I needed
He was
everybody
left and
here,
right.
man, women, and children to load it up. Then I took
And
care of
from
it
there,
after.
Pandemonium. Look at the goalies battle. You got to be tough and a little crazy
For fear.
to stop pucks traveling over 100 miles an hour. And they are tough
at
in
Scap.
more ways than one.
Look
Mike
at Scappy
Vernon
in there.
and Patrick
Look
Waugh.
at Scapinella.
25 years ago tonight.
Face, Peter Forsberg. The same cannot be said. As Larionov was the one who tangled with
Like at that
Forsberg.
moment, I think, obviously in the room and whatever, like, we're fired up, but it's still not that, yeah.
Darren McCarty came into this league.
That's me saying there's not enough time left. Let me get in the room and enjoy the rest of this. Let me get the pop on the skate off.
The gloves. He is much more than that now. An extremely complete
Yep.
player, Darren McCarty. But I'll tell you what, he's a guy you want in your corner
Now-
every single
Now,
night.
Dvorsky's saying, like, what do we do with this?
He plays with
Scappy,
great
tell
passion.
me, what should I do? Like, I know that I should be kicking McCarty out,
He
but
is the
there's
one who
no
makes the
chance
shot
I'm going to
at
do
Claude
it
Lemieux
because I want to
after
come
the
out of
initial
here alive,
confrontation
too.
Between Igor Larionov
And if you guys think I'm kidding, that's what's going on right there. It's like, what did you see? Not that much. Let's just forget about it. Let's just, we let him play. We'll give nothing to Lemieux, but he's done. So he doesn't even.
You didn't get a penalty.
I got nothing.
I got 4 minutes for roughing.
Yeah.
That's why there's only 8 fights, not 9 on the card. I did get a 10-minuter and stuff like this, but I think there was a quote today that I read on the tweeter machine that Paul Dvorsky, the ref, said that I should have been kicked out. He liked me. So he gave me a break, and I screwed him. And he didn't and you were like, so the way you want to hear about old school NHL or whatever else, the fact that he's the most hated guy in the league, and I'm one of the more likable to the referees, again, perfect storm, right?
Now, let me add to this, because Darren's mentioned 3-4 times I was the most hated man in hockey. Now, nobody's asked me how I felt about that.
How do you feel about that, Claude?
I didn't like it. And, we're joking about it, but would I have wanted to be like, Mario Lemieux? Yes. But I realized when I was, in my late teens and coming out of junior that what I was doing in junior hockey was not going to work for me.
Tell me your motivation.
Pardon me?
Tell me your motivation. My motivation was that I had a job working air conditioning, refrigeration, a family business that they couldn't quit, couldn't get fired from. The only way out is through.
And mine was, my dad worked 7 days a week. We saw him a few hours a week. He was in his truck. By the time we got up, he was gone. By the time, he came home, we were in bed. So that was my motivation. I didn't want to live like that. All due respect to the truckers and what my dad did. My mom worked 2 jobs, but I wanted, I love hockey. I wanted something better. So that was my motivation. And I realized after playing, 50-some games in the American League that if I'm going to make it, I'm going to have to be more the player that I was my early days in junior hockey, more physical, not rely on my skills because I didn't have enough to rely on it. And
that was your role. That was your
my
chosen
role. I looked up to Dale Hunter. I loved the way he played. He pissed a lot of people off too. But, he was a very efficient player, and that's what I sort of became. Did it feel good to be hated? Did it feel good to be booed? It doesn't, but you get used to it. It's like anything else. You're going to work, and you put the shell around you, and you go do your job, and you do it the best you can. And I love the big stage. When it came to playoffs, the stage got bigger and bigger, and I loved it. So that's what made me go with, play the way I did in playoff
Darren,
hockey.
to Claude's defense, many magazines didn't rank him number 1. Sean Avery was ranked number 1. You were ranked number 2 on that list.
Well, I think that after tonight we could see why. You know what I mean? There's some humility and understanding to, this happened, accountability and stuff like that. Maybe number 1 doesn't have that much, but he's not as seasoned age-wise. So we all learn at different times. So I could see that how it's moved in. Plus, Claude's older, so what's the poll ages? Did you give me the? Is it the 8th? Which demographic? Is it the 18 to 45 demographic, or is it?
Right. Well, let's roll tape.
Claude, way to make Claude feel better.
Yeah.
No, not anymore.
Boy, that is a dandy.
And they stayed in the game. The goalies stayed in the game.
They started just wipe it off and back of the net. Fix your goal crease.
We're in behind closed doors here on the other side of the Colorado.
That's crazy.
But Warren and Vernon looked like they're
If that happened today, what would happen to the goalies if this happened?
Gone, yeah.
Everybody's gone. The whole 10 guys on the ice are gone.
The coaches are playing at that point.
By a couple of
Maybe.
goaltenders.
At least the video
Very
guy.
possibly both of them going to the Hall of Fame. Just another day's work at the office.
Patrick Waugh, 3rd all-time amongst active goaltenders. And Victor Mick and Mike Vernon right behind him at 4th.
Bill Clement, you
really
love
do
those
as a
games.
Oh, yeah.
professional athlete.
You love those
hope
games.
Nobody gets
Oh,
hurt
yeah.
in these kind of things.
They're still clearing off the
It's,
blood.
Cleanup time, as you can
See, I told you I was a bleeder. It didn't take much.
Several guys had some.
It's for effect,
minor
but
blood
you know that
dripping from
goes
their
to.
foreheads,
It's
and,
good color. They,
it didn't look
Jay
like
Kyle
they
got good
seriously
color on him
injured,
there.
but
Thank goodness it
the
wasn't
hockey
an
players,
HD, I
are
guess,
used to
right?
this kind of
Oh,
stuff,
we like
and
that.
it'll be interesting to see.
And
Bowman
Scotty's probably
hears what Paul
asking
Dvorsky has to say about
Dvorsky
how
why
he
I didn't get anything.
deciphered all of that and who's getting what.
Why isn't Lemieux in the
I'm sure
box?
they
Oh,
announced
absolutely.
it shortly, but,
He's getting nothing. He's getting nothing.
they were waiting for it, and they got it. Mark Crawford, not happy what he saw.
His
out
hair is
there.
still perfect
It looks
despite
like
that.
He's complaining
Oh,
that there
there's a
should
little
have been
frazzle
more.
on the front.
He's not happy with the call by the looks of it from Paul Dvorsky.
Well, McCarty's going to get a double minor for roughing, and that will be the main difference. Colorado is going to have a 4-minute power play. Forsberg and Larionov both go 2 each for roughing. Waugh and Vernon get 2 for roughing and 5 for fighting, respectively. And then Darren McCarty with the extra 4 for roughing. Scotty Bowman.
Okay, in hockey, there's good penalties and bad penalties. That there's a good
Reporters
penalty.
and TV guys earlier said when he was hit over the head years ago, and it required a steel plate in his head and basically ended his hopes of a professional hockey career.
Hey, Stick, stop for a
Gentlemen,
second.
they
Hey,
took the
guys,
swing at him,
we are
called
going to
it
have
a
a
puck.
Q&A at the end, but 2 questions. Who's got a question right now they'd like to ask these guys? Right here. Yeah, go ahead. So the question was, he talked about, in the NBA we had a Bill Laimbeer here that played for the Pistons, and a lot of guys in the league didn't like him, but yet he was a great teammate as a result. And same thing with Chelios until he came here. Got it. One more question right here.
Thank you for that.
I gotta say, with the recent Paul Dvorsky comments about, Claude kind of comment, now 25 years later, has that bumped you the hell out of you at all now?
So the comment 25 years later,
No, not at all. I mean, look, the referees they're just normal human beings. They have a job to do. They have a tough job to do. Everybody knew the history, so you know that, yeah, it could have been, Darren could have gotten the 5 and the 10 and get kicked out, but that would have made the whole thing worse, and nobody wanted to have it worse. People want to see it go away, so you sort of understand it. I was never angry. I actually joked about it with Paul later on, next year, the following year, and I was like, yeah, that was a heck of a call, got yourself out of trouble. But no, I was never angry about that.
all right, let's get back to the game.
Apologized. And after about 3 weeks, he no longer held a grudge because of that show of class. And who knows, maybe if Claude Lemieux would have done the same thing, and maybe even deep in Mark Crawford's heart, he would agree. If Claude Lemieux would have said, hey, I never meant to hurt you the way that I did Chris Draper. I caught you off guard. I caught you in a bad position. We wouldn't have that look on the coach's faces right now. But then again, Mick, who knows, right?
Well, to see that replay as I did with the monitor down here in the studio, Forsberg's a gritty player. He gave it to Larionov. He was obviously upset, and he rarely ever raises his hand to anybody, so he was upset at what Forsberg did. And strangely enough, it's
Fairly close
two of the
there, right?
finesse
Not too
guys
far off on
that,
penalty
get
minutes.
This whole
And
thing going. I not seeing it, Mike. Where was Patrick Waugh going when Shanahan tackled him at center ice?
Patrick Waugh, well, Darren McCarty had Claude Lemieux pinned down and was getting a couple extra shots in at Lemieux. He had him in an awkward position. The linesmen
So he was going
were
for
tangled
McCarty.
up with the other guy, so he was going to help McCarty.
And a
Shanahan
note that I
stepped in,
heard too is
gave him a
that
bull ride.
because of that interaction and pick off Shady, that Waugh's shoulder
Yeah, it
was
looks like
never the
they've
same.
Got things settled down there.
And it said that it was never
And
the
guess
same.
who wasn't even on the ice throughout all of it? Chris Draper.
Slushy.
Sat on the bench and watched from a pretty darn close seat to where everything was happening.
Well, a minute and a half to the intermission. They'll be buzzing at the popcorn stand. You can bet on that.
Lidstrom in deep. Now the Red Wings with a different challenge, and that is to kill off some power plays. Now it's going to be Adam Deadmarsh and Konstantinov. You've got the monitor down in front of you,
Yep,
Mick.
I can see this one. Deadmarsh, we talked about him at the top of the show. He's a tough kid, big goal scorer, and he's been after Constantine.
This started to spark, didn't it, Darren? This started to spark.
As he likes to give it, so this looks like it may.
Is this number
be a
4?
long,
Which number is this,
long
Darren? This
night
is fight number.
for everybody involved. But
Birdie and
most
Wah.
of all, I'm sure the fans
Yeah,
having
this is
fun.
probably 4.
Let's just hope
This is
nobody
the
gets hurt.
reason
There's
out of
no
the
fights
gate
and
where you're going to
stitches.
see in the
Never heard
beginning of the
anybody at
second
long
period that I
range.
fight Deadmarsh
Jason Hillman just came in.
because
We're next
of
door,
that
as I said,
incident
Mike,
right
to the
there. So
Colorado
it just
locker
sort
room.
of
So now you got
And,
Deadmarsh in your.
get on the note
my,
here.
in my
Forsberg
sights,
Yeah.
right?
and
Because
Lemieux
now it's on.
getting stitches in the locker room right
Yeah,
next to
second
us
period.
here. So
Right upset because of
As
that,
I
what he
said,
did, and I didn't like
another
if you
day's
watch
work
Vladdy
of
go
the
down, the
opposite
way his
hockey
leg
player.
got caught underneath him.
So
I love
Deadmarsh,
Adam Deadmarsh, so.
a collision with Constantinov, sticks,
Oh.
gloves, arms, elbows,
Tough,
everything
too.
up. There's
No, I
no
love it, but just
hesitation
the
there
fight's
on either
too
one on what they're going to do. So they drop and get at it right away as we slowly come to the end of period number 1. It is still 1-0, isn't it, Mike?
Last time I checked.
In a fight, do you want to take your helmet off? Do you want to get the other guy's helmet off? What's the goal in a fight like this?
Look at
What are you trying to
Konstantinov
do?
go for the
Take
length
it
of
off,
the
punch it
helmet
off,
of
whatever
Adam
else.
Deadmarsh.
Depends who it is. Some
Somebody
guys
was
you
pointing
don't
up
have
here,
time
too.
to do it. You know, usually,
what this'll
yeah.
do for
but
sure is
it all depends if there's a
hockey
visor
players
there or
band
whatever
together
like that.
and,
You usually want
With
to.
this intermission here coming up
Sometimes
shortly, you
you're,
can bet
I
there'll
mean,
be
my
a
hands
ton
are all
of chatter.
chewed
Of
up.
course, the
That's
Red Wings
punching.
started
From hitting
feeling
helmets,
Punch
yeah.
helmets,
at home.
and you don't know it till later.
Colorado. I mean, this thing
So
is
your
just,
hands are all
I
purple
guess,
and you got it
expected
sitting in the
and
box.
I heard it
doesn't
hurts
necessarily
worse when you have
happen,
the
but
gloves
strangely,
on
the
versus
way
the
it
glove
happened,
off, right? The
it
other guy?
wasn't really over Claude Lemieux. It was two
Oh, it can,
defensemen,
yeah.
Forsberg and Igor Larionov that started off, and that's probably the strangest way for all of this to break loose. But I guess it was going to happen, and I suppose the good part about it is maybe it's
right.
it's beginning
know.
to be the
That
end of
was
it,
the
and
story
everybody can
there.
put it behind them and get on, because these are two good hockey teams, Mike, and that's the #1 priority.
Funny you said that, Mick. I was just going to ask you the same thing. We'll discuss that throughout the second and third period. Red Wings still trying to get their first victory of the season against Colorado. Now we're in a 4-on-4 situation as Deadmarsh ends up getting 2 for high sticking, and Konstantinov and Deadmarsh both go 5 each for fighting. So things will be even for the remainder of this period. 4-on-4 for about 30 seconds or so at the start of the second period of play tonight. To the near side boards and Lidstrom. The penalties to Deadmarsh and Konstantinov come just 15 seconds after the big brawl a moment ago. 30 seconds remaining in the first. Lidstrom. He plays it across to Larry Murphy.
Hey guys, in sports we know about momentum. Did you feel the momentum changed at this point, Darren, from your side or Claude from your side?
I wasn't feeling much.
The shot by Young. 15 seconds left. Walking in.
I think that it's important for us to get out of this period with that, to feel that momentum of just answering the bell or answering the call. So that part of the game's not lingering, to concentrate on scoring. So, I mean, it just goes to show you both teams aren't giving an inch, and it's, you know, truly is where this is 97, so really early in the rivalry. Ridiculous.
The Red Wings see Lemieux for the first time back in their home building. Set for the start of
So
the
I mean,
second
you know,
period of
it's
play between
it's
the Red
crazy to
Wings
me.
and the
It
Colorado
started off like
Avalanche.
feeling
Shot
out
for the
and
first
slow,
period,
and
eight for
that was
Detroit,
almost the whole game in
6
one
for
period. Just the way
Colorado.
the.
That was just one period. That felt like a
Glad
whole
we had
game.
more because we were losing.
To Brendan Shanahan, and look at that, 60 total penalty minutes. Right down the middle.
Seemed like
30
we had
for
more
Colorado,
shots on goal than that. I mean, it just
30
seemed like it
for
anyway.
Detroit. Here's the situation, though, with penalties now.
Yeah, it's
37
tough with them too, because, you know, sticks and lanes,
We
blocking
start the third
shots, all that
period.
different stuff.
Both teams at full strength. 5 skaters aside. Marty Lapointe trying to get it into the zone deep. Now Yzerman will do the
Quick
same.
thing I noticed back then too.
Successful.
Remember how
On
when the
back
glass
side
is
of
different
Kowalski.
and the boards were and it was more flexible near the bench and stuff like this, where there's more pliability, where you get hit into the boards and it wouldn't like kill you.
Lapointe. Fedorov across.
So back then they didn't give much. The boards didn't give much.
They gave more than they do
They
now.
give more.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a turnbuckle.
Murphy a drive.
Oh.
And it's deflected out of play.
Oh boy. Steve Yzerman can't believe he couldn't get a stick on the puck at the right time. With the
25
whole right
years,
side
what
of
else
the
is
net.
different? You mentioned the boards are different. What else is different about the game 25 years?
Well, everything about the game.
Colorado's scrambling right out of the gate.
I think
right
was
to put the pressure
two-line
on.
pass still in
We
here?
get some momentum coming out of that late goal by
Right, we
Lemieux.
still play with the
There was
two-line
direction
pass.
by Eichmann,
Two-line
but
pass
that wasn't the
definitely
one. There's
changed
one
the
I'm talking about
game.
right there.
It's a complete different
Reach it
game.
was going to the other side
The
of
amount
net.
of minor penalties that would have been called in just those whatever
You hear us laughing
20
over
minutes.
here like
There's
Chuck Liver. It's because we're calling 3 penalties in one play.
Jimmy Yzerman,
Today's game.
memorable moment against Patrick Waugh last season. Goal number 500 against the Colorado Avalanche and Patrick Waugh. Larionov
which game is
keeps it
this?
himself, gets it to Shanahan.
Seriously, is that the same
Shanahan trying
game?
to work it in deep into the zone,
Second
had it
period.
poked off his stick by
But I came back.
Sylvain
No, I don't think.
Lefebvre.
Oh
Now
yeah, you
comes
did.
Stephen Yell.
Got stitched up quick.
Now we have to
That's
pause.
how concussed
No,
he
let's-
is. See, hey, they didn't
No.
take care of their guys.
You honestly don't remember being out
I
there.
do not. I thought I did not think that I finished that game. So that's honestly can't believe that I actually played after what happened. I was under the impression that I stayed in the room and didn't come back. So there we go. That's how much I remember of it.
You can thank Darren McCarty for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to see if you watch it. Did I inspire you to play better? I mean, I know we ended
Well,
up winning, but I want to watch. I'm gonna watch.
I do remember.
I'm gonna watch
being-
your shifts.
I do remember being in the clinic and getting stitched up, and one of our teammates walked in and a bunch of curse, and he said, "Everyone in here is gonna fight. We're gonna fight until we something like we're gonna fight till we die." And I was thinking, this is not a good idea. Doesn't sound too good. And it might have been footy, you know.
Of course it would
yeah,
have been footy.
but it was something like that, and I thought, okay, just stitch it up. But I did. I'm shocked that I'm playing. I thought I was done. So
Valerie Kamensky has the
You probably got a helper on this one too.
did I? Maybe I dumped it in.
5-3.
Dumped it in the corner.
I don't know, but you got a plus. I want to see what your
As
stat
he got
lines
beat
were
on
that
the
game.
outside by Kamensky.
Hey, anybody,
That started the
Woodward
thing off,
Sports,
and then
look up
Kamensky
Claude's
with a perfect
stat lines
shot
for that
to
game
the
because
far
it looked like you
side.
got a helper.
Beats Mike Vernon over the catching
Or
glove.
how many minutes he played
And
because he
Colorado
doesn't
once again
think
has
that
a 2-goal lead.
that's him out there.
Constantino stands up here.
He asked, what game is this?
Quickly. And Kamensky just cruised right by him, just inside the face-off circle. Made it look easy, didn't he?
There you are.
Now, guys, remember the imperativeness
Yeah.
to win the
Constantino's
game.
gotta
You're
get
down
back up here
2-0.
with a guy like Kamensky. You just cannot
Now, I'm
afford
sitting there
to
going, well, at
stand
least
up
I
there when
got
you don't have
him.
any help back there with you.
But no, we need to
And a
win.
good hockey player's going to cruise right on by you. Look at that shot by Kamensky. That's a perfect shot, boy. Mike Vernon right against the goalpost, back in.
What do you got here? Come on, share it, guys. Share it, guys.
Like that.
We're laughing because goalies were much smaller. They were
You saw
smaller,
the whole
smaller
right side of the
equipment,
barn.
and they were standing up with the double stack pads. We had like this much to shoot on each side. Nowadays, you can't see any net.
So pads are different.
Not
back
just
then.
pads, the goalies, the style, the size of the goalies.
It is his
Yeah, you're up 2-0. You guys are up 2 goals. A lot
It
of
has been a frustrating
That's
year
why-
for Valerie Kamensky. He had a career high 38 goals last year, Mick. He held out early, missed the first 5 games, then missed 9 games with a shoulder injury.
Okay, well, I mean,
23 coming in.
so we're already in the third.
3 equals 26.
So did you come back maybe not in the second? That's right. You know why? Because look where the goalie
Things
is.
they can throw at you. You don't think
Oh
of
my
this
God!
guy.
See, he can't pull one by you.
And Joe Sakic. But I mean, he's
Yeah.
not far behind. Holy mackerel. And you got Dead Marsh with now 32 goals, and Scott Young.
So that one made it 5-3.
And
Yeah,
they
the other ones.
really have. That's why they're the best team in the league. I mean, it's.
Hey, Darren,
no
see, that's
accident,
good to know
no
people are still paying
coincidence.
So
attention.
that
here.
so
That's
to
good.
Claude's point, right? He probably missed his second period because he had an assist there in the third period to make it 5-3.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
I mean,
Off the draw again, Fedorov shot knocked down.
you remember it was last year that Pierre Lacroix, the general manager, used to be the agent for Patrick Waugh, negotiating for him with the Canadians. Made the deal with Montreal, got Waugh over there.
I guess we
got
fast
Lemieux,
forwarded and you
and
talked
those were the
too much.
final pieces to the puzzle, allow this team to have it all to go and win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, this is where the
Daniel behind,
imperativeness
trying to
starts
win
because when you get
consecutive
down to
Stanley Cups
5-3
for
where we have to
Colorado
win,
Avalanche.
so we got to push the momentum right
First year
here.
in their new home. Maltby the wraparound. And Lacroix will take the puck out of the zone.
At least
himself.
explains why Claude couldn't remember this period.
Drives him into the
Uh-oh.
bench area. And ran him nearly into the partition, which cost Matthew Dandeneau some time on the
And the
injured
play
list.
goes on, right, Darren?
The pass towards Knuble on the backhand shot, knocked down in front. Back the other way comes Colorado. Keane.
Right here.
Nice pass in front. And Rennie Corbet couldn't make a move on Mike Vernon.
You know who's been absent through, I can't remember when, Mike. It just all of a sudden occurred to me. Peter Forsberg.
Yeah, Peter Forsberg has not returned
Since he fell on his
since he
face.
took the
isn't it?
stitches. Well, nope, since the fight with Lariana.
I mean, he was cut before the fight. Remember when he fell
Right.
on his face inside the blue line? But
And then there was some more bloodshed, I believe.
Darren, what were you thinking at
Maybe
this
it wasn't
point?
a different-
We got a
No, I
chance.
mean,
We're
here it
still.
is. We're in the third period. Kaminsky just makes it 5-3, and it's like,
Holmstrom to Darren
because we
McCarty.
got it. Yeah, what
Now
are you
flipped
doing?
up
Get
by
it in.
Krupp.
It's not
Murphy
your
fell
game.
getting onto the ice from the players' bench.
So
Knotted up
when
in
this
the
happens,
teammate's
it's
arm.
like anything else. You
They
can't
get-
worry about tying it up. You can only worry about getting that next goal. So the imperativeness of getting the next goal is such a priority.
So you're not thinking 2 goals. You just got to get.
You
the
can't.
next
You gotta get one
Zurab
first.
behind his own net
But
will work it
what
out of the zone.
absolutely
We
cannot
have played
happen
nearly
is
4
giving up
minutes here
one.
in the
You
third
give up
period.
one, and
As
it's over.
Larianoff
At this
Stanley
point.
Cup,
inside
Stanley
his own
Cup
zone and gets it
champions. I
to
mean,
Murphy
really,
quickly
2-goal
to
lead
Lidstrom.
late in the game.
And now
They're
back to
trying to
Larry
lock us
Murphy.
down.
Shanahan steps over the red line, sends it in. Waugh leaves it there for Adam Foote. At the blue
Yeah.
line, Murphy's shot deflected.
I was offering him a shave.
And McCarty was in deep, but Kucherov got it around him. Lemieux.
Oh, look at that.
Off the turnover, Murphy.
The
into
Hoff,
quarters with
Murph,
Larianoff
the
and
Hoff.
2 Colorado players.
So Claude, this is the third period.
Am I playing
So
any?
I think
Am I
you might
playing
have
better?
missed the second.
There
Yeah,
you
you
are.
got an assist in the third. But you might have missed the second period. I think for the fact that I think Forsberg, with what had happened and because of the skate earlier, had been out, but you missed some time in the second, but then you came back. But it goes to show you, right,
Slow motion game there for a while.
where's your mental state? You know what I'm saying? To the thing that you're out there, and it seems like you're a little bit more engaged, but
Buck taken, sack it. Now LaPointe will work it.
I
Marty
mean, and
LaPointe to
sometimes you
Eisenman.
just got to get that one.
Flipped it back towards LaPointe. LaFave clears it out.
5-3.
Ahead, Scott Young.
Yeah, 3-3. Yep.
To a streaking Joe Sakic. Sakic has been kept pretty
So
solid
Darren, like you said, if they
offensively
score
tonight.
one more, Colorado scores one more, it's basically over, right? Your goal is to get another goal, just
Now
get one
played
goal.
by Krupp.
Yeah, and they go and do their championship sort of,
Yeah,
prevent is, not prevent for 1-2-2 or 2. They're not looking to give up a goal. So when you watch, the opportunities, and I don't know if you watch these games, but the teams so mirror each other with a lot of talent and execution or how they do it.
Jones moved in and it took 2 strides from Fedorov to gain back position. Corbet gets it to Miller. 14 minutes.
Claude, do you remember the third period? You say you don't remember the second period. You remember the third
No,
period?
again, I don't remember much. I don't remember losing the game. But I have to say today, if the Wings don't win that game, maybe it sends a message, yeah, you beat up Lemieux and a few other guys, but you still lost the game.
Absolutely.
You just can't beat those guys in big games. And instead, it definitely flipped.
Where you at,
And
Darren?
that, what, and I'll say this to whatever, is if you see Joe Sakic get in there or whatever, because there's a guy on the ice, and it's not like there's guys on the ice rolling around with each other. There's a guy on the ice. Now, guys, to the most part, want to drag the shenanigans away from the guy on either team, whether they're hurt or not, because that's when stuff can happen.
Pile up in the corner, and Detroit will have a power play out of the whole thing as Ozelinch got the extra 2 for the cross-check. Maltby's in the box as well. The Red Wings need to get one back again. 13:20 to go. They're down by 2.
5th power play of the game for the Red Wings. They've had good pressure with a man advantage the last couple of times after not generating much on the first 2 power plays. Way back early in the first period. To the point in Lidstrom. Yzerman, a nice job done to keep the puck in at the blue line. Leaves it for Shanahan. And well saved by Waugh in traffic. He got the stick on it. McCarty. Shanahan again. Darren McCarty, time shot. Oh, hit the post. Oh, I thought it went in the net.
Short side. You believe it.
Waugh was beat. And McCarty clanked it off the post. I thought he had it. Here is Larionov. Sandstrom around the outside. He moves in, and Waugh was there. Puck is still free, but play is whistled down. And Sandstrom and Sylvain Lefebvre with some pushing and shoving after the play.
I forget he played here.
Well, you watch at some of the goals and how they've gone in on one side tonight for Colorado. The bank off of Sandstrom's leg from Vernon's shot. And that one there by McCarty. And you just wonder. Right now, it just isn't to be. McCarty's ripped.
Right there.
Puck goes off the defenseman to the left of Waugh. He got something on it, too.
Darren, a lot of people may not know that when you were in the minors, when you were OHL, you actually had 127 points that year. Gretzky had 121. You were a scorer. I mean, you were
different. Brent Gretzky, but he's my younger brother. But I like the way you set that up. But yeah, the best part.
That sounded good.
Kirk Mulvey had 50 goals last year. Junior Darren McCarty had 55.
Getting the shot away, and he took the pass from Shanahan and almost pulled the wings back to within.
You wanted to be known.
Time was left.
You wanted to be known as a scorer that could fight, not a fighter that could score.
That's right.
Keane will be able
Or
to clear
no,
along
the other way.
Yell.
Both.
Yell
Rick
dumps it
Tocchet, whatever
back
you
into
consider
the
him.
Zone. 40 seconds remaining, and the penalty to Sandis Ozolinsh, the extra penalty, and has given the Red Wings the man advantage here.
Up to center the Russian 5. Claude just asked why was Sergei playing defense, and it was to get more ice time for more guys, but because it created more room for him, and it gave, right? That's what we wanted to do. We wanted the other teams to go, why is he doing that? Right? That's Scotty, like we mentioned before. So it was just, and a lot of things, what I learned about Scotty, he do it a lot in practice, so he could do it in the game. We were so good because everybody played with each other at some point. As you see, you know, we call it the bingo machine.
And they didn't expect it. They didn't expect that change.
Well, I mean, you'd have to ask Claude when you're game playing, especially the playoffs and stuff, and they throw a wrinkle in, because playoffs or series, they're all matchups and stuff. Like,
guys, as you mentioned earlier, coming to their own, like a Lacroix, like a Young.
Thing is, you see, this team just does not give much up. I mean, they had a goal tonight off the faceoff late in the second period. Outside of that, they don't give you much. Don't give you.
Claude, do you remember anything about this period? You don't remember anything. Have you ever had a game before that?
I mean, that.
There it is. There it is.
And Kirk, here's the thing, because you know it too, and you sort of felt it, right? Where you didn't, that wasn't the, but that was the, oh my God, we're still in it. 8:27 means there's just over 11 minutes left in the game, which is right around, if you're down 2 goals, you can get one before the 10-minute mark.
Now you got one.
Right,
One
well,
goal to
that's
make
it.
up.
You try to get one without 5,
and watch Murphy make the play. Look at that thing. It's up on edge. It hasn't sat down
so,
yet.
I think for us, we still believe that we could do, you know what I mean? Like, we fought so hard, we fought, we did.
And it's a 1-goal game again.
Power play had just ended 1 second.
So that was the goal you needed to be within range.
Well, and then you look at the one that, like, that's just, that'd be right place, right time, finishing it off. But,
so LaPointe gets his second.
Hey, Claude, before this period, did you have any other games where you didn't remember a period, you didn't remember a whole game?
Yeah, I would say my memory is not the best. Probably, I don't know, maybe concussions, but there are a lot of, I mean, when you play a long time, you played a lot of games, and you play on a lot of teams too. I played on 6 different teams, so I think that's probably a little bit more challenging to remember all your former teammates, remember everything.
There it is.
Now, how did that go in?
Shanny scored. Shanny loves shooting the puck from behind the net off the goalie. And always that little trickery play or always whatever like that. And that right there.
Did he score 50 that year?
49.
49. Wow.
Like it looks clearer to me than it
I
should.
had 19, he had 49.
I was on the
Just why
ice.
this
Not
is a
good.
true goal scorer. Clark had talked this before, but it's just, you know,
Yeah,
use
he
the
probably
goalie to
tried to do that on purpose.
on purpose. That was absolutely 100% on purpose. Look, he's got his head up.
At his back.
Right off the bottom
Right off the back of his leg.
Now that's scouting too, right? Like that's just not, can I do that because different guys are different. I think maybe he's surprised it worked, but more so, I was happy. So this is sort of, if you get your stuff and remember back then, it's like, wow. Wow, and you could feel it in the rink when Claude talked about listening to the fans, and you can sort of feel it coming up. And now it's about being close, but being smart. You're still, look at, you still got 10.5 minutes left.
Can't give up a goal, right? Can't give
Well,
up a goal.
you know you're not gonna, but it's also too is that now it becomes a little bit, right? You're gonna play the whistles. Now it's a playoff game. Now it's pretty much, for lack of a better term, maybe not at 10 minutes. When it gets to 5 minutes, it's pretty much sudden death. You know what I mean? Like as far as that goes.
But you're saying that you beat us in overtime.
Yeah. And I scored the overtime win.
So if you ask me today, did we have overtime in 1997?
You would remember that.
No.
Wow. Good thing we're watching
So
this
I have
tonight.
no clue when it started. When did we start overtime? I thought we ended up in ties.
No, 90. That was the first year, I think. Because we still played 5-on-5.
So that was the first year of overtime.
I believe.
That was a bad idea.
No, it was a great idea. That was
year
a
it was,
phenomenal idea this night.
Would have
They
been
can
better
change it any way they
5-5.
want. Listen, how did I get an overtime goal being on the ice? I wouldn't be on 4-on-4, 3-on-3. It was 5-on-5. I'm probably about 12th in the shootout. So, but what you'll notice is, you know, err on the side of caution. Both teams, you know.
Darren, were you still thinking about Claude at that point? Were you still thinking about it?
It's
The
over,
retribution
bro.
was done at that point.
Dude, it's all on the win. That now, listen, to this day, if you're on the ice with Claude Lemieux and you turn your back and something happens, that's on you. I told him that, right? We can hang out, but the player. So here's the whole thing. But after that, you sort of know, but it's just more or less along the lines that everything sort of on that end is taken care of. Now, here's the whole thing to that point with the playoffs, right? It was sort of served back over to Claude to come to that next game and Joe Louis off the face-off where we line up and go. That was the counter to that, but that's why there's so many different levels to this. Now it's about winning the game.
When are we showing that one?
Next year. Next year. That was a good one. They should have pulled that out, too.
Approximately 9 games left for each guy on this list.
Solani missed the game last night for Anaheim. Tonight they're in Vancouver. He's got something strained. Anyway, I can't quite remember which. Yager's missed about 13, 14 games with that groin of his. He's not back yet.
Lemieux has been hurt.
Fine looking company there, boy. Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh got beat tonight, or they're almost getting beat 6-3 by Montreal.
Claude, what did your teammates have to say with you when you came back on ice? Do you remember what they said or what they did?
I really.
Why did you come
I
back
don't
on
remember.
the ice?
I do remember that.
Dude,
You know,
you don't remember the bomb that Verdi just almost like, that would have sucked.
look at the
Don't let this
look
be
at
Carroll
the
Universe
penalties.
Shanahan in the neutral zone. McCarty steps in.
Yeah, I remember after the first period talking about coming back and, you know, fighting everybody.
2 goals a game against the Red Wings in the first.
I think when this happens, you really, it challenges everybody on the team to you know, how tight you're going to stick together.
Yeah.
Clearly, we had a real tight group, and the boys were going to stick together, which you feel good when you're part of that team because, you know, you want your teammates to stick up for you. You feel bad that they're in that position, but you got to go to war. You go to war together.
And you had a Stanley Cup to defend.
Bragging rights. They're the top dogs. Not just that they own us, they own everybody. They're the standard at this year.
I think I want more of it. Miles away from Adirondack.
There's something about being the team to beat versus trying to beat the team, right? You were the team to beat.
Barrington up at Michigan, and they're going for another championship as well. But
No penalty.
Let him play.
On an NHL roster with the playoffs, less than 3
Was that just because of the playoffs or just the rule of the era? I mean, that was just the
No,
time of
but
the.
this was not a playoff game. It's just how it was. There was no the hookings and the holding and
Just
the
a different era in
interference
hockey.
was not called.
Advantage Detroit.
As a player, what you want is you just want consistency both ways, right? Usually early on, if guys are calling it tight, then you know that's the way it is. If they're letting it go, then you just want consistency in the calls.
Montreal. He's had a great year. Center off the shot. Save made. Rebound. And Canuvo couldn't get a piece of it.
Now it's turned more into the playoff hockey. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny how but I think that goes to the talent level. They're just, you know.
Little love tap there we saw as well.
Well, there aren't many that have left their seats tonight. I'll tell you, we're over 3 hours into this hockey game. What do we got, John Charbonneau? 130 minutes or so, penalty minutes. Been a ton of them. 142. Better off again. I'm going to tell you what, he's looked really good back there. Keep him there, Scotty. I think he likes it back there. He's had a good, strong game offensively, and he's done a very good job defensively. And what a different look that gives the opposition when this guy's back on the blue line. And let's face it, Scotty's been playing him not on the first two lines anyway.
Right, in the checking line.
Yeah.
He would be the most offensively skilled defenseman in the NHL.
Claude, what are you saying, man? What are you guys staring? What do you
We're
guys?
trying to figure out where Slava Fetisov's was.
If he was slain?
I had it. He was a teammate in Jersey, but I think he left. He came here in '95. When we beat you guys, Slava was already here.
Came here in '96. Because we lost.
But he might have been out. He might have been injured.
He might have been injured this game, but we did win the playoffs and the back-to-back. He came back to flat after the accident.
What you get for the most part against this team. They don't give up a lot of weird or strange goals, but they just did right there, the Shanahan goal. And even the LaPointe goal, kind of a strange one, puck bouncing around off feet and legs, and LaPointe just in the right place at the right time. And like anything else,
the drive and a save made by Waugh.
like anything else, to win the Stanley Cup, you got to be good, you got to be lucky, you got to stay injury-free, part of that's luck, and you got to get the breaks. And believe it or not, it's a much bigger part of winning than people want to talk about.
So, guys, it's tied up. What in a game like this? It's heavily rivaled. It's heavily heated.
Shoulder of Waugh. Again, he is down.
How much gas? I mean, you got your gas is almost out of the tank at this point, right? You're still going,
That's
right?
what you play for. You're on adrenaline. You're whatever like this. Man, playoffs. This is one of the rare games during the regular season that gets amped up to playoff mentality and playoff. As you can see, the game getting geared up, but that's every night in the playoffs.
Leaving nothing on the ice, right?
No.
Leave it all on the ice.
Hey, Stick, if you want, you can probably fast forward it to overtime.
Best ever goals against average was a 2.36. He's got a 2.27 so far this year.
Even before. Colorado here would just love to get out of here with this 5-5 tie with all of
So this
Here we
is the
go. Here we
overtime.
go. Where it's all about. Now this is the see the blood on the back of Waugh's jersey. Great touch.
There was no bloodborne pathogen.
We only had
back
one
then?
jersey back then.
What I want you to watch, because it happens quick. Watch this play by Igor Larionov at the blue line.
Colorado will just try to play, I think, play it safe.
Same situation, but reversed roles as it was 10 days ago when the Red Wings traveled day of from San Jose. Got right into the high altitude and did not have a lot of rest from a very physical, long game the night prior against the San Jose Sharks, a game which featured over 100 penalty minutes. And now the Red Wings with the fresher legs, and it is shown. Larionov.
There it is. There it is.
Another
Stop it right
minus.
there. Stop it right there.
Stop a stick.
Right there, that moment behind the net. Listen to me. Behind the net for everybody in the Wing Wheel Nation, no matter what, that was the first time, the moment, the proverbial, it's going to be all right. Don't know what it means. It's going to be all right. For all of us, it took that lift off. The caveat to that, we know what it meant. I mean, I got 4 cups. We're still building on it. The caveat is the second time I've ever had that feeling. I've only had it twice. It was 2 years ago when Steve Eisman was introduced as the vice president GM. Why it's so important, this is because I believe history, so we can learn and learn what we're all about and different things, and then when the Wings come to that. But that was the moment there, that this kid from Leamington, Ontario, that grew up wanting to be Robin to Proby's Batman, wanted to be ride shotgun to Steve Yzerman or whatever, had that feeling because I grew up a Wings fan when they sucked but they could beat people up. And it was that moment we all knew, right, that no matter what, it was going to be okay. So,
Yeah.
it's just not when, it's when.
Yeah, we know the rest is history, right? Claude, what did that mean to you, that goal to the team moving forward for the Colorado? What did that mean? That was huge, obviously, for Detroit. We know what it meant here.
Yeah, I mean, this was a hard-fought game. Of course, you know, I didn't feel too good about it, but
You just didn't feel good
I
in
think
general,
I
right?
think we knew. I mean, the whole league knew how good you guys were. So it's not like, you know, they came out of nowhere and all of a sudden we gave them life. I think it was, you know, they made a big statement. They addressed everything they needed to address in that game and then won the game. It gave you guys, you know, momentum.
Did you feel that confident? Like, did it matter because, you know, Brendan Shanahan said in the Russian 5 about the psychological advantage that, and in hockey we talk momentum, but there was something that happened to both teams, not good or bad, and not that you guys quit because it never was, but we got that monkey sort of off the back to prove that to ourselves we could beat it, right? So you don't need a confident team when you're against you. You need a
Absolutely. I think it's there's certain teams that have to go through, you know, some, like with Jersey, we had to go through the Rangers, losing to them, being up 3-1, losing Game 7 in the Garden after, you know, Messier predicted they were going to win. We were up, we had them down. We were a better team in our minds. We were, you know, we were going to finals, and we lost, and that was painful. Came back the following year, we learned from that, and I think it was the same for you guys. You'd gone through 2 years of adversity, not 1 year, and it was your time. And as much as it was painful, anybody that's in hockey, when you see a big hockey market, hockey town, you see teams that are, you know, so well supported by their fans, it's good for the game. We want to see big market, big team, you know, big hockey markets. We love when that's happening. And whether it's LA or New York or Boston or here or Montreal, it's been a long time since we've had, you know, a Canadian team win, but it's always great when you see big market, you know, that are competitive and doing well because they got that fan support, and it's year after year after year. So we weren't happy about it back then, but looking back, it was good for the game.
Yeah, if you were going to lose to anybody, it was going to be the Red Wings, right? Out of
Absolutely.
respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely so. 25 years later, March 26, 1997, four-time Stanley Cup Darren McCarty, four-time Stanley Cup Claude Lemieux. This is going to wrap up the live version of the watch party. We are going to take some Q&A. We're taking a 5-minute break, and then going to come back for Q&A for the questions from you folks right now. So 5-minute break. We're going to come back.